let's talk about what's going on with men, because maybe some of these men are following Andrew. But if narcissism is the result of what we're doing to women with our digital media and online, what's happening to our men?
Weakness. They are so afraid of responsibility. They are so terrified of self-control, and they have no desire to solve problems. So it creates a very, very weak man. And what I mean by this is there are men that will essentially use their 20s as an extended adolescence. Back in the day, what men would do is use their 20s as a training ground for their future. So they would get their education or go to wars, they would create a home, they would have their children, and that would be their focus for the rest of their life. Now I have to feed my family. I've created the groundwork, and now I know where I'm going for the next 30 years. I'm going to make sure my kids go to school, my wife is fed, and this, that, and the other. And their 20s would be that period. What we've done is taken the 20s of men and replaced responsibility with hedonism. So men are now told that 25 is way too young to have kids. And even part of me, when I see a man that's 25 and married, I'm like, well, how did that, like, what went wrong? And it's because what we've done is we've created 20s as an extended adolescence. We've accepted that a 25-year-old man will have no different of lifestyle than a 19-year-old man, because essentially he'll still be going out on the weekend, he'll still be having short-term mating strategies with sleeping with girls without even taking them on dates or without even considering marriage and kids. And we've convinced them that marriage is terrible. We've convinced men that you just go on a bunch of holidays, just go and spend money, get in debt if you have to, move out from your parents as long as you've got your own place, and even if you're struggling to pay rent, that's better. Just waste your money, waste your efforts, just waste. Nothing is about investing into their future unless it's money. They don't think about, how do I take care of people? Now, men back in the day, their primary focus was, how do I provide and protect the people around me, particularly women around me. The average man, the young man, is not even thinking about providing and protecting. He's just thinking about enjoying and avoiding responsibility. And I think the avoidance of responsibility limits a man's ability to become masculine. You will never be masculine until you have to provide for people. You'll never be masculine until you have to protect people. And what we've done is created a man who's afraid of those things. So unfortunately, I think the main problem with men is weakness, and they allow women to walk all over them. They allow that a lot more than they would previously. I get that the culture is very terrified of women, but they tiptoe around it. They're scared to say an opinion. They're so fearful and weak that women are no longer attracted to them, and because they're not getting that attraction from women, they stick to pornography or escorts or using prostitution, because they essentially recognize that they're not a man that women would be attracted to.
Wow. All right. And the women like having that temporary power. So sometimes they're just like, I like this. And because everybody wants more power. So again, short-term focused, it feels good to have some power over a man. But in the long term, you're breeding someone that is not going to protect your village, is not going to protect you, is not going to be the father of the children you want.
Yeah, it's so different to how we all like junk food. In the short term, it tastes great. Afterwards, you feel shit, and your body will pay the price. Similarly, when you take a weak man, for the first moments, you feel like you're on a power trip, and you feel loved, actually, that he caves into you, and you feel as a woman that he must really love me because he just listens to everything I say and he concedes to everything. So you start to have an inflated ego, and you think, this is great, this feels like love, he really loves me because he gives into everything. Over time, you're pushing more and more because you're looking for the boundary. We all are. As human beings, we look for our boundaries. So she ends up pushing him more and more to the point where she starts to hate him because she doesn't feel safe around him, and she can't see the stop sign. And we need stop signs. As human beings, we need it at work, we need it in the law, we need it in our relationships. So what happens is that kind of ego boost turns into contempt. She starts to have resentment and contempt towards this man for being unable to make her feel safe and protected. So unfortunately, that weak man that initially you're thinking is great because he agrees with all your ideologies is later going to be the bone of contention, and you're actually going to go out and seek a man who's more toxic and more difficult and actually more who's punishing you because you've been craving boundaries. We all crave them, unfortunately.
It's fascinating. We all search for boundaries.
And isn't it fascinating, as a woman myself, but what we say and what we want are not in line, unfortunately. We say we want them to accept our influence, but in the long run, we need to just trust their judgment. So we actually just want a man who trusts his own judgment, and we can let him lead us, and we know that he's not going to lead us off a cliff. Whereas when he's too soft and too weak, he's like an extra child for us.
Right.
And we have to raise him, and we don't.
And the
like
men are
it.
the same way, because we thought in the short term we want the super exciting, carnal woman that's out there, but in the long run, then we know that's just a nightmare.
Yeah.
And that she probably comes from something challenging and traumatizing, which we'll get to. But we don't really want that in the long run.
In the short run, it's great though for men. They love that vixen kind of woman that keeps him on his toes, because it's a challenge. And it's a way of like, if I can get her to submit, I've really achieved something, I've conquered something. And it's great for the male ego compared to a woman who's naturally very easy to conquer. But in the long run, it's soul destroying. Because you can't actually get her to, you might fall in love with that woman that you actually can't secure, and it actually is very soul destroying for their ego. So we're very complex as human beings. It's like we're masochists. We love causing ourselves trauma.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. I'm looking for partners, collaborators, colleagues who want to join forces with me around the globe and create real value, generational wealth, and